everybody, my name is Morley Paterson. This is my MecE 200 video presentation, and I'm going to be talking about a little known but amazing engineer from before 1900. So I've chosen to talk about Thomas Savery. Thomas Savery was an English inventor and engineer. He was born in 1650 and lived for 65 years. He spent his career in the military as a military engineer, and in his spare time performed experiments with mechanics and thermodynamics. Thomas Savery's line of work is cool because it led to the development of the steam engine. The steam engine brought so much that we have today, and it was such a huge step, and he was an integral part of developing it. Now, he didn't actually develop the steam engine, but he developed what was called the Savery engine, and that's what I want to talk about today. I really want to talk about three things. I want to talk about his development and patenting of the Savery engine, the people that he worked with, and the influence that his work had on our society. Let's take a look at the development of the Savery engine. Here we have a simple graphic of the Savery engine. This was an engine used to pump water from a mine shaft or a well up onto ground level. Now what they would do is they would fill this vessel with water and heat it to steam. This would fill this cylinder with high temperature, high pressure steam. Now it was said that they could fill this cylinder with steam that was 8 to 10 times stronger than air, or at a pressure of 8 to 10 atm. They would then close valve A, open valve D, and pour cooling water all over the cylinder. This would drop the temperature and the pressure of the steam, and they would actually achieve a negative pressure. This would draw water up the pipe and into the cylinder. They would then close valve D, open valves A and B, and let more high pressure, high temperature steam push the water all the way up onto ground level. Now the only issue with a system like this is that when you're using a negative pressure siphon, you can only draw water up approximately 30 feet. And that's what Savery found. He could only draw water up 30 feet. Technically, the height that you push the water should be unlimited, but due to safety reasons, it was also very limited. Though the Savery engine was a little primitive and maybe even a little crude, it was a pretty big step for their time. Some of the Savery engines lasted for up to 18 years. I can imagine that this was probably the first time that these people had seen something like that. Now let's take a look at some of the people Thomas Savery worked with and some of their accomplishments. So Savery's work with other engineers. Here's a couple of people that Thomas Savery worked with: Thomas Newcomen and James Smith. Now I couldn't actually find a picture of James Smith. Apparently he's a fairly hard guy to get a photograph of. Thomas Savery worked closely with Thomas Newcomen. Now Thomas Newcomen is recognized for developing the first practical steam engine for pumping water. This steam engine was a direct application of Thomas Savery's work and was actually built under his patent. So let's take a look at how it works. Here's an animation of the Newcomen steam engine. Now what you can see Newcomen did is he replaced the cylinder with a piston. As the water is heated, steam fills the piston. As the steam cools, instead of drawing water into the piston, it drops the piston. This up and down motion of the piston worked a traditional styled pump on the other end and drew water up out of a well or out of a mine shaft as well. As you can see, Newcomen's design was a direct application of Savery's work. Now because Thomas Savery had his work patented, most of the steam engine developments that followed were developed under his patent. James Smith is one such person that worked off of Savery's patent. Now James Smith developed a fire engine that was very similar to Thomas Savery's, but he claimed it could raise water up to 84 feet. Now I wasn't able to find any proof of this. I wasn't even able to find a picture of James Smith, but nonetheless it's obvious that Thomas Savery was one of the founding fathers of the later-to-be steam engine, and influences of his work can be seen throughout most of our modern-day steam applications. So to sum it all up, we've gone over Thomas Savery's involvement with the steam engine. We've looked at how he developed the fire engine, some of the people that he worked with who helped develop the steam engine, and how his influences were carried throughout the development of the steam engine. I think that's all I have to say about Thomas Savery, guys. Thanks for watching.